Hey there, welcome back as we try to crack this beast. I think we have been through the hardest parts, right? We did the, oh my gosh, how does this work? Oh my gosh, how does the flashpoint work? How does movement work? How do we use the movement chart? We've gotten through a lot of the most difficult parts. The only thing we haven't done is an actual dust storm, which, that's in the top six or the final six cards of the top 12 cards. So we are right now starting turn 5. So that means that the dust storm could theoretically, if it was card number 6, it could come in the next card that we draw. So we got turn 5 here, and this is turn 6. So it could be any of these next ones. In fact, it could have even been this one, but it wasn't. So, okay, so let's try, let's get started here. We have the Gandhi Sharma, and there's only 2 eligible. That's Red and ourselves. So Red is going to go first. There's nothing I can do to change that. And so let's dive in and see what Red's going to do. So I just got to find the bubble sheet. Here it is. All right, so we don't do the top part because they're not eligible. Is the current event critical and effective? We know it's not critical. There was no star. So the answer is no. We don't do step 2. Step 3. Is the current event is critical for the second eligible faction? That's us. Now, it is. See how it has the little star there? Oh, I already know what they're going to do. Okay, so the answer is yes. So they're going to do an op only. They're basically screwing us out of the event. So they'll do an op only, which means they're taking this one. And if we were to take our turn, we're going to just do a limited op, and that's it. So remember, a limited op means we're going to be restricted to just one location with whatever action we do. And let me see, what would it have been? Shiv Sharma and Gandhi, that's these 2 right here. 1 level each towards active support. And then they're ineligible through the next round. Holy cow, that would have really screwed them. This was a good event. And not only that, but this is like their primary source of population points. It really would have hurt them. So they did the right thing. A multiplayer person would have absolutely done that. Okay, so anyways, they do their limited op, so let's see what they're going to do. Red is on top, but remember, you always take the top card off, and then we do the next one. All right, so RD rebels in 2 or more populated spaces not at active opposition. Both of these are at active opposition. So we have passive opposition here. There's a lot of them. Yes. So just to help out, you got them here, they're there, and then there's some over here. And there's even one there. All those are populated spaces. So let's see what's next. A hidden RD rebel in any space with a vulnerable enemy base and may perform a special activity. They are not allowed to perform a special activity, so we got to flip it over. So, and I don't think there was a vulnerable base. There is a vulnerable base out there, if I remember correctly. It's that one. But see, there's no rebel on that one. That's definitely a vulnerable base. Here's another vulnerable base. We actually have 2 vulnerable bases right now. But this one is definitely vulnerable because there's actually enemies in that space. Okay. So it says campaign. I think that's an actual command I can do. Yes. So it's going to be bolster opposition and build momentum. All right, so it says using shift towards active opposition, And then if there's a base with hidden rebels, only where one or more rebel would remain hidden. Okay, so here's what the campaign says. In each space, activate one rebel, well, what spaces? Populated spaces with rebels. So there's a lot of spaces. In each space, activate one red dust rebel if none are active. Then shift one level towards active opposition. If the space is now at active opposition, draw a campaign card. If the space is now at passive support, place 1 damage, set EG minus, and -2 profits if a corp base is there. Holy crap. Then play 1 drawn campaign card and shuffle the rest back into the deck. Alright, so it just says select first campaign card, which I'm assuming just simply means that we're just going to draw another campaign card. And I believe 1 campaign card stays active at a time, so it would replace that one. I'm going to have to look that up because the campaign cards, of course, are different when you're the human. So let's resolve the primary action first. The primary action is that they are trying to campaign using shift towards active opposition, and they're going to pick a base with hidden rebels. Oh, hold on. It says activate 1 rebel if none are active. Then shift 1 level towards active opposition. I see. This is trying to clarify that if you're doing this at a space that has a base with hidden rebels, you don't want to activate all of them, because then that makes the base vulnerable, which is what's happening here. They're all active, and these 2 bases are vulnerable. If I can kill those troops off, we can wipe out their bases. All right, that makes sense. And it's just saying that if you're going to activate a rebel in that location, there has to be at least 1 that remains hidden. Okay, so we need to do this, and it's black with a white text. So what that means is we're going to be rolling the die to see how many locations they end up ultimately doing it with. A 2, of course, is very low, which means that there's, 1/3 chance that it's going to end, but a 2/3 chance it'll continue. Oh, excuse me. Okay, that's what I get for doing this late at night. The other thing is, okay, how do we determine which space this is going to happen? We already know that it has to be populated spaces with rebels. That part we get. And so then I'm assuming there's something on the bubble chart that will help us. So let's, we're looking right at the bubble chart. So let's to another page. And so we see here, right here, shift towards active opposition. How wonderful is that? They actually had it titled exactly that. So the first priority is that it's not at active opposition. All right, and we also know that the rebels have to have at least 1 hidden, because you have to be able to flip it to active. So the reason I clarified that is, so these 2 are at active opposition, so they're out. This one's out because there's no hidden rebels. Okay, that one's in, Shenzhou. So we will put a green there to indicate that one's the candidate. Technically, this one's in. He's all by himself, but he's in. This one's in. And so is that one. And so is that one. So we have a lot of them that are active. Okay, so that means we got to go to the next one. And the next one is most population. So 1, 1, 1, 2. So that means these 3, I'm going to just knock them over, are out of contention, right? So we're at 2, but Shenzhou up there is 3. So that means the first one that we're going to activate is Shenzhou. So that one, a rebel flips over to active, and then this active support is reduced to passive support, which means that we're going to lose 3 points of support. So 1, 2, 3 goes down for us. Now, they're not done, so they're going to continue, right? They're going to want to go to the next one. So we roll 4, so they do continue. And now they're going to this one. They would flip this over. This would go to full active opposition. And so that gives them 2 points. 1, 2. And they're really close to their victory condition. And those ones are done. And now it keeps going. So now we got 3 of them that are tied. Oh, I'm sorry. We got to roll first. Okay, we rolled a 2. So now it failed. So it doesn't keep going. So that's all the more they do for their action. And they don't get a special activity because they're trying to block us from the event. So that is the one thing. They hurt themselves from doing this. So they are done. I always feel like their turns do so much more than my turns. And so, yes, now it's us. So we can do a limited op or we can pass. So the decision to pass is I want to look at the next one. So the next one, red is going to be ineligible because they just went. And we would get to go first in the next one. So we do get full control. And here it says activate all red dust rebels. So I'm assuming that activating them is very necessary to destroying them. I know that's a Captain Obvious statement there. But let's look at what we get to do. So the only action we've done all game is train. This one. And that let us put a bunch of troops out, which I'm very happy for. And we still have a whole bunch more to put out. So I feel like train is something we're probably going to be doing for a bit to get our troops out there. There is secure. So we can enter labyrinths and reveal rebels. So we move troops to the destination from adjacent spaces. It's almost like the recon step, except it's labyrinth, whereas for the corporations, it's deserts. So there's a very mirrored effect here. Oh, here we go. We got recon. So this is the same thing, but with deserts. Move the troops to the deserts, and then activate 1 rebel for each troop. So this is move and activate, both of these. Well, one's in the labyrinth, one is in the desert. And then assault. This would let us remove enemy forces. In each space, remove 1 active. See, that's the key, right? Enemy force per active coin unit. Base is last. And the corp profits from mercenaries. In labyrinths or with dug-in base. My camera was getting blurry there. In labyrinths or with dug-in base, assaulted factions may then free attack. So I don't know what free attack means. It says e.g. controller, suppress, bombard. That e.g. is Earth governor. Controller can suppress, bombard. I actually don't know. We'd have to look up that action. There's some more detail in the rule book. So here's my debate. I have a limited option. So, for example, I could assault here, but I don't have the troops. It's the corporation that has the troops there. There's no displaced population, so I don't gain anything from, helping there. There is entrench here, which lets us place bases and fortify troops. We can place an MG troop in an MG base, then fortify any remaining troops there. Fortified troops are placed on populated infrastructure squares to absorb damage. That's something else I'm going to have to look up. I'm assuming it just means they can take an extra hit before they're destroyed. They count as 2. Petition. Place a supply on Earth and a supply for every 3 rebels activated by the operation. I see. So if we did like a secure operation where we activated a bunch of them, we could then do petition along with it, and it lets us put a supply for every 3 rebels we activated that way. That's pretty cool. Reduce profits by 1 for each supply placed. If the company operation removed more rebel forces than coin forces, set EG plus and reduce profits by 2. Also very cool. And then last one is transport, which just lets you move troops. So we can do a limited operation now, or we can wait till next turn. We can either do the event, or we can choose to do a full operation. Because the other 2 that get to go is orange and so the church and the corporate. The church only has 1 item. Now they could spend it to go second, because to go second they just need to get ahead of them. So it is possible that. So where I'm going with this is, if I do a full action, then the corporation could go and possibly would do this card, which would expose all the rebels. Or I can expose the rebels and then hope when the corporation goes that they would do something to destroy them. Because the corporation actually has more troops out there than I do. So it's the other way around. They can do the destroying. If this was an actual physical human, we would be talking right now. But then, the church player still has that 1 card they can discard, so they can disrupt all those plans. And then if they went, they would be able to see right here, the red dust may free ambush any number of labyrinths, which that's the opposite. They're going to kill a bunch of our troops. So I'm going to look up the free attack, because that curiosity is killing the cat here. Okay, so the free attack that's mentioned here, the rules say that so you get to kill the rebels. If there's any rebels that remain alive, they then get to do a free attack on you. And there's an attack action right here. I was pointing to this because I meant to right here for the assault, right? So assaulted factions may then free attack. It's only with whoever survives, and it's only in the places that you actually assaulted. Now, the Earth government also has options when you're doing assault. You can see that they have a suppress action. And then it sounds like, from what I read, you can force the rebels to disperse out into the desert. So you're kicking them out of the labyrinth. In one space not selected for the assault, containing EarthGov troops and rebels, you may force them to move to adjacent desert. So it doesn't have to be a labyrinth. Destination is chosen by the owner of the rebel. Then shift any opposition for suppress 1 level towards neutral. So it could actually hurt you if that was an area that is in favor of you. But ideally, you would do it against somewhere where the rebels have the support. And then it just tells you that you may suppress. And then, of course, you can use satellites during assault operations. But you have to be the EarthGov controller, which right now we're not. But I'm just trying to be thorough with understanding the rules, because those are all things that you have available to you while in addition to doing your actions. So what on earth am I going to do here? Do I do the limited or do I wait? I think that the answer seems pretty obvious that we should wait. It is possible that the round will end, but I'm still thinking it's okay to wait because my thoughts are I don't want to do a limited action. I want to do a full action. I'm going to bank on the fact that corps get to go after me, and even if they don't, so what? Also, by passing, we get 3 resources, and everything we do costs us money, so we might as well take the resources while we can. So the way this works is they're going to do this, and then we do what's called a pass, so we gain 3 resources, and then they go to ineligible, and now 3 of us are ineligible. So I am for sure going to get to go, but one of these 2 won't. And then the round's over. So we then go over to here. This card now becomes the new card. We flip this over, and it is the Dust Storm. Okay, so what this means is this is the final round. Then the Dust Storm triggers. When we finish this final round, we are not going to draw another card. So the flashpoint is not going to happen before the Dust Storm happens. Okay, that stuff is just laid out in the rules. We just never triggered it yet. So it is our turn, and we do have to decide what we're going to do here. I am fairly certain the Dust Storm round is going to reset a lot of things. So this thing that activates all RD rebels is useless. We are going to cause them to activate, and then they're all going to go back into hiding because of the Dust Storm. I mean, the Dust Storm literally causes everybody to hide because there's chaos. So that's a very bad move. We should do a full action, and I got to determine how can we most effectively do that before the end. And remember, we can't win. We just got to make sure they don't. So obviously, everything we do that changes whether or not they like you or whatever, whether you house or repair, that requires displaced population. We have none. So none of that helps me. I ideally would like to either reinforce our bases or repair does, well, it says you can't repair unless there's displaced population. Well, let's think about this. If I wanted to assault, which is something I do think would be most handy, see, it has to be a space with MG forces and enemy forces. There's no MG forces here. There's none here. Right? We can only assault anything that's face up. There's one and only one unit face up here. Just one. There's no units face up there. None here, none there, none there, one there. So we don't have, we're not situated in a strong position to attack. So then it becomes, okay, we can secure and recon. What this does is this helps us to move troops, right? Move. And then we would activate. Well, that's just almost the same as activating the event. Or we can train. And I think we're going to have to train again, folks. I know it sounds boring, but we started the game with 1 million troops off the map. And I think that's the thing, is like Mars is reacting to an evolving situation. And, it's sort of like COVID. It's spread. It's more than just the state of Washington now. And so, the response was too slow, and now it's spreading everywhere. I mean, it's that kind of thing. So with this, we can entrench or transport. So let's make sure we know what we're doing here. Transport is just move troops, which is doable, because if we do the train, right, we can then move the troops after we train them. That's not a bad idea. The entrench one is up to 2 locations. We can replace an MG troop with a base. We only have 1 base left, by the way. Then we can fortify troops, and then it tells you the fortified troops are placed on the infrastructure. And I do want to look up what the fortify is instead of just guessing, since we are at a point now where we're making these decisions. I do confess that the rulebook is better than previous coin games, that when you look up these commands, they really do say more than what was already on the player aid. If you take some of those old coin games, Pendragon, no matter how much I praise that game, they're absolutely the one that does this. it'll say, go to this in the rule book to learn more about this particular action, and it'll be word for word what's in the player aid. And so it's like, you didn't help me at all. But I think a good player aid should tell you everything, and you shouldn't have to look it up in the rule book. So, take it for what it's worth. Okay, so I found that the Martian government, the entrench action, a fortified troop in any populated square for that space. Each populated square may hold at most one troop. So each space may have a maximum of one fortified troop for each point of population. Fortified troops protect the population from damage. Whenever damage would be placed in a space with any fortified troops, regardless of which square those troops are on, instead remove a fortified troop to available and ignore the damage. These troops are otherwise treated like any other cube in the space. Fortified troops that are moved to another space are no longer fortified. So it was a little different than I was expecting. So what they do is they literally populate these spaces. And so like this one here would be able to hold 3. If I ever get a population here, they would be able to hold 4. And then if a damage were to come to that location, then instead of the damage happening, the troop would be removed. So I think that's pretty cool. Now, do I want to entrench? That's another... we only have one base to place. I think maybe the transport might be better. Here's the good news. I don't have to decide now. I just need to know what my 2 options are. If I do train, it's either entrench or transport. So let's do that. We're going to train. So we're not going to do the event. We're going to do the full action with special activity. And we're going to train. And this time it's not limited. So just a refresh. Any spaces with MG bases in Labyrinth with coin control. So any spaces with MG bases and Labyrinths with coin. So either 3 resources per spot. In each space, place up to 4 troops, then may pacify and up to 1 selected space. And pacify is perform up to 2 house, repair, or pay 3 resources to shift 1 level towards active support in any combination. All right, so this is a big action actually. I like this one. All right, so let's start with where we have a base. Well, actually, we get to decide. So I'm going to do it here for sure. I don't have coin control in either of these, so I can't choose those. I do have coin control here. I don't know if I want to place there, but I'm thinking about it. For now, I'm putting a marker there. I don't have coin control there. I do here. And I also have coin control here, and here, and a base there. Now, I have to decide, am I really going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 locations? Because that's 18 resources. Now, remember, at each location, I get to do a pacify in one location, and that is I can perform 2, so that's going to cost me 6 more resources. I'm going to do it. I'm going to spend, well, hold on. Let me count how many troops I even have to move out there. I have 4, 8, 12, I have 14 troops. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it makes no sense to do more than 4 locations. I got to for sure do that one. That one I was iffy on, so I'm going to take this one back. We already have a lot of troops there. I got to for sure do that one because we got to protect our bases. So we have 2, and then I'm just picking 2 of these 3. And one of those 2 is going to get very limited support. I'm going to choose, see this one has nobody but me in it, so I'm going to take that one out. So we're going to go where the rebels are. All right, so yeah, we got to, let's start with this one here. I am going to put a full 4 here in the desert. And then we're going to go to that desert there, and I'm going to put 2 in that one. And then we're going to go to this one, and I'm going to put 4. And then we're going to go to this one, and I'm also going to put 4. Like so. All right. So now it says I may pacify in one space. And pacify is I get to do 2 house repair. I can't do house or repair because there's no displaced population. So I can spend 3 resources to shift 1 level towards active support in any combination. So I get to basically shift twice if I'm willing to spend 6 resources. First of all, we're spending 12 to do our action. So we're at 27. So there's 10, 11, 12. And then I'm going to spend 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more. I'm predicting I will. And I'm looking at, like, this one's already full active support. So it's not going to be that one. This one has no population, so we're not going to do that one. This one also has no population, so we're not going to do that one. So this is the winter chicken dinner. And we will shift it twice towards us, so that puts it onto full active support. And then since there's 2 of them here, we're going to move up 4. So we go up 1, 2, 3, 4, like so. All right, so now that we're done with that, then we either get to entrench, which would let us place a base somewhere, and then we can fortify troops. It doesn't cost us any money, and we can do this in 2 spaces. Or we can transport, which let us take some of our units and move them. So we can only move from Phobos, any spaces with a base, and 1 additional space. If I was the Earth Governor Controller, I would get 2 additional spaces. So I can only, it's like I'm thinking, like, could I possibly move here to start attacking the rebels, for example, and or here, because this is just like a powerhouse, right? That's some of what I'm trying to deal with, is like, can I move out and start to actually make a difference against the rebels? I got all my troops on the board. And part of me is like, well, you should at least, secure where you have and kick out, everybody else. One thing that I would like to do is maybe secure this one. I think this one's winnable. So is Shepherd over here. I think this is a lost cause right now. I'm going to hold on to my base in the desert, but I think that might be all the more I'm going to try to do unless something else happens. And the Mars rebels are doing a great job. I mean, they got extra population and everything here. So I'm not winning that game at the moment. So when it says location, one of the things I don't like about the terminology here is that the location where I'm moving to or moving from. And it says procedure, move any number of troops between selected spaces. Or is it, I can only move to and from those things. So I can move from anywhere that I have a base and also 1 additional space. So basically, I would only be able to pick 1 space that has a rebel base to move to. Because so if I understand this correctly, it's move any troops between selected spaces. The spaces I can select are these. So Phobos, I have nothing on Phobos. The spaces with my bases That rhymed. I only have 2 bases on the board, so it'd be those and one more space. Well, I have this base here, and I have this base here, and I put all my troops everywhere else except for those bases. So problem number 1 is I would only be able to move from where I actually want all 4 to stay here because I got rebels on there. That one I want to protect, so that's out. So then it's like, okay, well now I'm picking one more spot. Well, maybe let's say it's this one that I wanted to attack. Well, I could then move my 4 troops from here to here, and it sounds like I'm done. Because, and I'm going to look up the rule real quick but I'm just giving you my understanding of it based on what I read. And then, of course, others may have their own opinion on it. Let's see what it says. Transport. Select Phobos, any spaces with MG bases, and up to 1 additional space. Move any number of troops among the selected spaces. So yes, we interpreted that correctly. So that's it. It's only the spaces with the base. Okay, this changes things because now I'm going to do a fortify or entrench because I'm going to get out my 3rd base. And where I put this base is going to matter because the base is going to be important for, that's where I can move to and from, right? So I have 2 bases out in the desert right now. I need to get one like inside the labyrinth. And I think the greatest place for that is over here. And, which one am I going to do? I have the Tereshkova or the Tenzing. I think they're both great locations. This one happens to have 3 populations, so I'm going to put a base here. And it does cause me to lose. Ooh, look at this. I got a half cube here. Piece broke off. So I do lose a cube, and I put a base there. What else does it say? It does say up to 2 spaces with coin control. Then may fortify any remaining troops. So I'm going to fortify all 3 to protect the population there. And according to the rules, you could still use them to attack rebels, stuff like that. It's just the moment you move them off, they no longer are fortifying it. And they could take damage in other ways because now, if somebody tries to damage the population, they would get removed. So there is this rule about removing pieces. I'm out of bases. So can I take that base, which is worthless, up there in the desert, and remove it and replace it somewhere else? Because I get to do fortify or this entrench in 2 places. I know you can do that with troops. I don't know if you can do that with bases. So let's check that rule. That's an interesting rule. That could be to our advantage because I don't see any advantage of being out in that desert, folks. In fact, being in this desert over here, the only advantage I see is I can build up a bunch of troops in the desert and then attack the labyrinths because I'd be connected to both of those. That's the only way I have a shot at removing all those rebels is trying to get in and do that. Yeah, so sorry for the shade. I either have glare or shade. It's bad lighting. Okay, so it says each faction has a mat with available forces. And again, the shade is a problem, so let's do it this way. Forces may only be placed from available. Ignore would be replaced with another force that's not available. Then the first force's piece is instead just removed. Place available bases in the highest numbered empty spaces. If Mars, Red Dust, or Reclaimers have no available troops or rebels while executing, they may remove their own troops or rebels to their available forces in order to place them elsewhere. must be immediately placed. If rebels should be placed in a hidden state, da, 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 da. It does not say I can do that for bases, which is a shame. So I guess I got these bases out in the middle of nowhere. Now, the one problem with putting that base there is, as the Martian government, I don't have a lot of control over doing anything in that area up there. Because since it seems like I'm moving from a base, I'm not up there. So how do I move troops into that area so I can control? However, I think that's, the church is doing some damage up there, but so is the corporation. We do have a lot there in Genzu, but we didn't select that location, so I can't entrench there. So actually, I would have liked to have built a base right there, but it looks like I'm not going to be able to because I didn't choose that as my action. Okay, so I know that was long-winded and involved, but there was a lot of meaty decisions to be made there. A little bit of interpretation. I think we got it. So now we move to the next one. And I think I should have done this initially, but we have to roll for the church. And we rolled a 2. And remember, it needs to be a 1. So there was hardly any chance they were going to win this. So the church is not going to get an action this round. So yay, team corporate evil. So that means the corporation is going to go next. And since we chose a full action, they get to do a limited operation or the event. So let's see what they choose to do. All right, is the next event critical? The next event's the dust storm, so no. Did the first eligible choose the event? No. First eligible chose, and the current event is critical or performed and effective. I don't know what performed and effective is. What's performed? It's definitely not critical. Is it effective? Well, that requires us to look right here. So if it adds or increases profits, corporate forces, or if it removes or reduces enemy forces from the map, asset cards, or player resources. It doesn't do that. All it does is switch them to active. So this is not a effective event. Now, what does perform mean? Why am I getting hung up on that word? It didn't seem to bother me at all until now. It's just a word I don't recognize. So perform means, I see. Performed means that it doesn't have that slash symbol in it. So this is a performed event per se. It's saying that they could perform this event because it doesn't have the slash. But activating all RD rebels doesn't fit into the effective criteria. Because I don't see anything on here that says that we're going to, that by flipping them to active, that either adds or increases or removes or reduces. Like it doesn't fit any of those criteria. So, okay, with that said, we're not going to do the event, so I'm going to discard it. Well, we're just not going to say yes to that question. So, it's not the church. Will they be active on the next? No. Acting faction? Nope. Otherwise, they're going to do a limited op. Very interesting. I would have thought they would have. Yeah, I guess, why would they do the event if it wasn't effective? So yeah, limited op for them. So we grab our cards. This one goes away. This one comes out. So EG confidence greater than 4. No. Draw a new card. Moving, moving, moving. Okay, and now we're to Corp L. 2d6 less than or equal to available security. Well, there's only one security available, so the answer is no. So draw another card. Yeah, these corps, they don't like half the actions they get to do here, huh? Any non-terraforming corp bases in deserts? The answer is no. Or no, they do have one. Right up there. So the answer is yes. Assault could remove an enemy base. Ooh. That assault right there would remove 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, that assault would remove an enemy base. Ooh, this is getting juicy. The answer is yes. So they're going to do an assault to remove rebel bases. And remember, this is a limited action, so they only get to do it in one place. And we'll follow the bubble chart, but this is literally, I think, the only place they can do it. They have troops up there, but that's not going to remove a base. They do have troops over there with orange. It's just that the... that would remove... that. There are no orange troops there. Holy crap, there's 2 locations, and they only get to choose one. Oh! All right, I'm stressing out. Call 911. I'm having heartburn. Oh, Nelly, it's coming. It's coming. All right. No, I'm looking at orange. We need to look at black. We are going to assault. Where's assault? No? Why am I missing it? I'm not gonna look through the camera. So assault says any spaces with corp forces and enemy forces. And each space may activate any spec ops. Then remove 1 active enemy force per active coin unit, with bases last. So this is interesting because you have to activate a spec ops, which changes everything, right? So that spec ops is already activated. Come on. What a horribly worded... Yeah, you guys could have done better on this one. I mean, the AI card's telling you, can you take a base? Yes, I can take a base. And then it's telling you you need to have corporate spec ops, and they have to be able to be activated. What's the whole point of the security cubes? Okay, so the rules say, in each selected space, remove 1 active rebel for each cube or active spec ops there. Corporations may activate spec ops as desired before resolving the assault. Oh, that's it. So the active spec ops count towards removing cubes, and you can activate them so that way they count. That's, okay, this over here was worded as if it was a requirement. It does say may activate any spec ops. So yeah, so that's the part where the player aid fails, if you ask me. I had to read this to know what it really did. This didn't tell me. So why would I activate spec ops? Well, because only active spec ops count towards the cube removal. Okay, it makes total sense. Just gotta be patient. And I'm not patient, folks. This is gonna be a 20-hour game. So, okay. So with that being said, we can still do this location or that one. So which one are they going to choose? And I'm trying to look at the bubbles here. I would think maybe remove or replace is the bubble I need to use, because it's not going to be place or upgrade bases. It's not recon or exploit. So we'll do remove or replace. So is there a rebel at a corp base? No. It does say coin units less than rebel forces were corp forces. So is there coin units less than rebel forces? This would be, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Technically they have 6, so there's less total here. So that is one of the priorities for removing cubes. And then it does flat out say that labyrinths with corporations, I'm sorry, conversion centers. So they don't like conversion centers. Those are the upgraded orange bases. And then it says most population is next, and then rebel base is much further down. So, there's one population there. There's one here, but see, this one's passive opposition. Actually, the corporation doesn't care about that part. I think they're activating this one because they have more than we do. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is going to kill 1, 2, 3, 4. And then this one, well, which one do they choose? Do they do the dug in? Oh, dug in means something. Give me a second. Allows them to retaliate with any surviving rebels after the assault operation in deserts. Well, then we're going to remove the dug in. So there you go. Excuse me. It says bases last, which we did. The corp profit from mercenaries. And so basically there were 2 mercs there, so we're going to get 2 profit. So I'm moving that up to 5. In Labyrinth or with friendly dug-in base, assaulted factions may then free attack. And that's the reason why we removed the dug-in base. Because that was, they would have gotten to free attack on that one. All right, that makes sense. And I think that was actually a really good move. And they're no longer in control. This is now coin control. So also, very interesting. Okay, since it was a limited op, that's all they could do. But gosh darn it, if it wasn't limited, they could have just gone over there and done it again. But that's actually our fault because we did the full action. So the way the round's ending is it's looking like this, but I'm pretty darn sure we're all going to eligible. Because there's going to be a reset phase here. Okay, so how are we doing on time? That was 53 minutes. We did 2 turns. 1, 2, 3, 4. We've done 6 rounds total, and this recording is round 5 and 6. So yeah, we did 2 turns in 1 hour. So roughly 30 minutes each. We did a little bit of rules lookups for each turn, because I'm definitely still not confident in just plowing through the game. I did a lot of analysis paralysis. I still think we can get that reduced quite a bit. But I think it's getting better, though. We at least understand, the game concepts are understood. I hope at this point in the game, any of you who are watching understand the concepts of, the bases, the control, how everybody's scoring their points and going to win, stuff like that. Hopefully that makes sense for you. But, how to determine exactly what the bot's going to do, I think that's a little tricky. And even with the bubble charts and stuff, it's still sometimes tricky. But I think, you just got to be slow, which is not my strength, and deliberate, again, not my strength. And you can get through it. Okay, so with that said, we would be triggering the next round, but what happens is we grab the Dust Storm card, we do not reveal any other cards at this time, and we just resolve this. In a multiplayer game, somebody could win at this point. The game could be over. In our game, it's impossible to win unless the AI wins. Now, before we continue this, I made a suggestion to you that you should make sure that all of your components are correct on the tracks. Because that's something that I'm so busy worrying about what the bot's going to do, I don't always remember to update those things. So we're going to go through each one and make sure that we have them updated accordingly. I think one thing no, did I remember to do it? I'm trying to remember who used the last displaced population. I thought we used it to remove a damage. Or did the rebels use it? The only reason that's important is this Earth governance thing is currently on negative, which means it's going to go down again. That's bad. It's very, very bad. But okay, I can't worry about that. It's negative, so I'm going to trust that I got that part right. So now we're going to come up here and we're going to look at these tracks. Now, I have components everywhere and a charging cord that's ready to knock them all around, so I can't move my camera too much. So this one, I know you can't read it, but it says total opposition plus bases. So we have to look at the situation, and these count as 2. So that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. Okay. 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. That's what I got. Do you see any opposition anywhere else? I don't. So this 28 was wrong. It needs to go down to 25. And to be quite honest, I think this last round is what modified that. We definitely just removed a base. That was one of them. And then I think we shifted some people in our favor. Okay. The next one says total support plus EG confidence. The EG confidence is 1. And then the total support for us, hold on. There's one more for them right here. So they go to 26. Total support for us, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I got 18. That looks right. So at 18, I was up 1 too high. Well, hold on. Did I add the corporation? I am so bad. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. This is 19. I was correct on ours. This is just total enemy bases from the orange perspective. So this one you can look at the player aid. So here you can see there's 4, 7, and then 7 more for Mars for 14. And we're exactly at 14. That's just pure luck, by the way, folks, because I haven't been updating that one. The next one is CR controlled plus bases. So this is the church. So we have 1, 2 control for the church, and then 3, 4, 5, 6 for bases. And we could have looked here. There's 4 bases. Yeah, so that's 6. So this needs to go down 1. Profits we've been keeping track of. This one is NP asset total. We're using the poker chips for this, so I'm just going to take that off. And then this is the agitate total. That has to do with this whole game with damaging population. So I don't think we do have. I think the agitate total is 1, and I don't think we've had to move it since. Okay, so now that we have all those numbers correct, it's always a good exercise. We're going to go through this and see what happens. So it's just on the opposite side of flashpoint round. First thing we do is the victory phase. Corporate casualties. Reduce profits by 1 for each corp base and casualties and 1 for every 2 security. Well, they happen to have 4 of them here. So they're going to lose 2 profits. And corporations are nowhere near winning this game. They're down to 3. Earth government casualties, there is 0. Move all forces to available. I sort of just did that. All satellites and casualties to Earth. No need. Reduce MG resources by 3 and corp profits by 1 for every 2 population markers in a displaced box. None are there. If any faction has met its victory conditions, they win. And the closest one right now is red. So the Mars movement does not have total support plus confidence equal to 34. We are at 19. Okay. Corporations have a profit of 3. They need to have 36. Red Dust needs to have opposition plus bases equal to 32. They are at 26. So they're the closest. Church has to have bases on Mars plus controlled spaces that exceed all other bases on map, which is why we are keeping track of all other bases, which is currently 14, and they are at 6. So if their 2 markers ever meet, that's how they win. That's something I didn't actually pay attention to until now. So nobody won. That's the victory condition. You know, for how complicated this game is, that's an easy check. All right, let's keep going. Now, this is the part that's interesting, and I didn't pay a lot of attention to it. But first off, the resource phase. Follow these steps to adjust resources and profits to a maximum of 50. Martian government earnings. Mars gains resources equal to the population of spaces with coin control and no opposition. Okay, so I got to count the population with coin control and no opposition. Well, these ones are definitely not going to get counted. We have coin control here and no opposition, so that's 3. And it's any space. Holy crap, that's any space. Okay, gotta back up. So starting down here, 1. Don't count that one. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nothing, 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 nothing. Nothing, nothing. 7, 8. Nothing, nothing. 9. 10. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 16. So we're at 9. So 10 to 19 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're up to $25. We're right back to where we just were, which is good. Give me the money, people. All right, I'm happy with that. Increase corporate profits by 2 per corp base and a labyrinth. They have 1 base and a labyrinth, so they will move up to 5. And by the way, This stuff that happens after the victory check, in like Pendragon especially, you'll actually meet the victory condition, but it's too late because we're already past that. Okay, Red Dust. I'm going to read it because I'm just curious, but they don't have resources in this game. They get resources by the population at active opposition plus RD bases on Mars. Okay, so it's population and bases. The Reclaimer draws asset cards as shown on the available bases track on their player mat. Oh, you don't draw the cards based on when you do them. Okay, I had that wrong. So we weren't supposed to draw a card when this base came out. Actually, we never got to that base, but I described it wrong. So they're going to draw 3 cards, is what that's saying. So we're just going to grab 3 poker chips, and there they go. That makes sense. Total sense. All right, keep going. Pacify. In each space with coin control, Mars Gov may perform up to 2 of house repair or pay 3 resources to shift 1 level towards active support in any combination. Oh. All right, so there's no displaced population yet because we haven't reset that. So I can't do house or repair, but I can pay 3 to shift towards active support anywhere there's coin control. I got to pause. I need caffeine, but I'm going to come back and I'm excited about this. So we're going to spend we're going on a shopping spree. If you remember those old days of Wheel of Fortune, when they used to win and get to the final round, they would actually be on this carousel that would just rotate with all these, like, with refrigerators and trips and prizes. And the person would have a budget and they had to spend their money. I'm going to buy that. And anyways, that's what we're going to do. And that's old school Wheel of Fortune, folks. That's like 1982. Okay, so any space with coin control, we can perform 2 shifts. So we can't like go bonkers, but it's $3 a shift. So this is where it gets fun. So for example, we have coin control here. I'm going to actually, let's mark everywhere we have coin control that I'm contemplating doing it. This doesn't help me because there's no population, right? I'm looking at, like, how am I going to score population points, right? So we have one there. We have this one in the desert. This doesn't help me. This one is already maxed. That one's already maxed. That one's already maxed. This one, nobody has control, which is interesting. And we could do something there. So, one more here. Okay, so what I did was I put a marker everywhere that we have coin control and there's population that would actually benefit from us shifting. So we get to shift twice. And I totally forgot. Was I supposed to draw another campaign card when I did that one action? I think I was. So this one would be gone. Logistics cannot select transit and Corp Pass does not activate the Aldrin Cycler. Who's logistics? I can see Corp. So the corporations can't pass, or they can pass, but they don't activate the Aldrin Cycler. But who the heck is logistics? Cannot select transit. I'm looking to see if there's a logistics action somewhere. Oh, it affects corporations. So corporations has a logistics action. I see. They can't activate the Aldrin cycle. They can't activate the transit in Aldrin cycle. So apparently, because the comms are cut off, like it says. Okay, getting back to what we're doing. I'm going to spend 6 here to go from passive opposition to passive support. So that's going to take 1 away from them and add 1 to me. So they're going to go down 1, and we're going to go up 1, and we're going to spend 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a lot. I got to be careful. I'm going to spend 3 to move this to active support. So 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to go up 1, 2, 3, like so. I want to do the big areas first. Let's do this one. I'm also spending 3, and I'm going to go up 2. So I'm spending 3, and I go up 2 more. Down here, I'm going to spend 6 to go up 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and go up 1. And then, last but not least, I'm spending 6 more. So that puts us down to $1. And folks, how often do we even get to do an action in this game, right? And this action is just so beautiful. I'm going to go into active support everywhere I can. So that way, when we start this round, that's one less thing I have to worry about. So yeah, I got to worry about getting money. Sure, I'll do whatever I need to do to put supply on Earth or whatever. The key thing here is I just shifted everything to active support. That would have taken me 4, 5 turns of game actions to do what I just did. And the only thing that was questionable was, should I have done it in these places with only 1 population? That's a fair question. If I wanted to save some money, I could have cut back on those. The big labyrinth areas, absolutely, that was worth every penny. And I don't think many of you would disagree. Everywhere else, yeah, I probably could have done something a little chintzier. But from my perspective, I'm taking it, because this was free. Action economy is the thing that's most limited in this game, not my money. My money's not the most limited, it's the action economy. Because, you don't even take a turn half the game. There's going to be rounds where you're not even eligible to go. So, anyways, you get the point. We have to also now move on to the government stuff, or I'm sorry, the bot stuff. But here's the thing. That's right, they're limited to 6. Under support, so this is who goes next, right? And I don't know if you remember, but the next step in this process, what did I do with it? The next step in this process says that lobby, Mars. Oh, hold on. I do want to take some of it back. Okay. Agitate is something that Mars is going to do. In each space, they may perform up to 2 house repair or pay a resource to shift, right? They don't have resources, so that's why I got this out, because this is going to explain how they are going to resolve their shift action. But right here, look at this lobby. Mars Gov may pay 5 resources to improve Earth confidence once for a maximum of 1 shift. So I'm going to take back 6 resources from somewhere, and I'm going to do it here where there's the base. So we're going to take this one away. That's going to drop me by 1 point here. I'm going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 resources, but I'm going to go right back down 2. So I'm now down to, go down by 5. So I'm at 2 because I need this bad boy to go up. That's very important to me. I would pay 10 if they would let me. Okay, so we did that. Gosh darn it, I love this dust storm phase as a Martian government. That's a good one. All right, so agitate. So in each space with Martian control, or when I say Martian, I mean red dust control, they can perform 2 of something. So it says select spaces at opposition using place population in as many spaces as possible. Then select spaces with opposition for repair using place population, and spaces to shift towards active opposition using shift towards active opposition. For total repair and shifts up to agitate total. Repair first if possible, then shift. Reduce agitate total by 1 for each repair and shift. What? I think I need to understand what the heck agitate is. I'm going to pause. I don't even know where in the rule book to look. It's right on the back of the bot book. It's a measure of the non-player agitate and repair capabilities. It's increased during their redistribute special activity and spent during repair actions and for agitate during the support phase of each dust storm round. So that would explain why they are at 1. I think we started the game with them at more than 1, because otherwise we did do a repair, right? Because there's all these population that's in their region, and I may not have been able to do that. And that might have been a mistake on my part. So let me see what they started the game with. It was 1d3 as its starting value. Interesting. So when they do this population thing, sorry, my doohickey fell down. When they do this population thing, that causes their agitate to go down, and once they're out of agitate points, they can't do this anymore. And see, they did it 3 times. So I'm going to move their agitate to 0 and say they can't do anything right now with the agitate. That doesn't mean they can't shift. They can do shifts. They just can't do repair. Well, they can't do repair and populate anyways, because there's nothing to grab. But that's something we'll have to pay more attention to. They started with a very low number, and I guarantee you they did not have 4, because we rolled a 1d3, and you can see they spent 3 of them right there, and they had 1 left on the track. So that's just me not doing a good job of moving the marker. Okay, so asterisk there, folks. I made a mistake on that one, but we learned, and that one's not going to happen again. Okay, what's next? Oh, that's right. They can pay. They don't have to pay because they're the bot, but they're going to shift 1 level towards active opposition in any combination. And of course, the bot sheet says they're going to use their shift towards active opposition to select the spaces Yeah. So they have to have RD control. So this is already full active. That's full active. That's full active. The only thing that they can even shift is this one. So they're going to move this one to passive. So they're going to gain 1 point for that. So we did a great job of smothering them, or just letting them go wild, and they've already maxed out their their opposition. So there's nothing we can do. Hold on. Technically, this is also RD control. So they got one more here, and then this over here is RD control. So they're going to get one more. So we're going to have to bump them 2 more for that. All right, so they do go up 2 more, and they're back up to 28. They're just as good as they were, so we really didn't hurt them that much. And And it makes sense. All we did was boost ourselves. We didn't hurt them. But yes, this here with the whole population thing, big asterisk. I don't think they were allowed to do that because of the agitate total thing. It's unfortunate because this gets to why I was telling you it would have been nice to have a player aid that's just for the bot, because that action of housing and repair doesn't require you to. The agitate thing is something that only exists with the bot, and I don't know which action it was. So like this one was rally where we place bases. That's definitely not it. Right here, shift towards active opposition. This is probably the actual card we did. So right here, reduce agitate total by 1 for each repair. And then for house, you could place population. I see. So the agitate only seems to go down for repair, but it doesn't go down for house. I need to look at that rule book again. It is. It's only for repair. Okay, so the house was actually fine because this is the house action. Placing them one was fine. So they actually did have 1 agitate, but it doesn't matter. The agitate doesn't do anything because, like we said, there's no displaced population. So I will put the agitate back to 1, so they could theoretically repair one more time. And yes, I believe everything's resolved the way it needs to be. Oh, okay. Support phase is done. Now we go to redeploy. And under the bot chart, redeploy has a monstrous amount of instructions. So this is if the corp is the EG controller. All EG troops go on Phobos. And then of course, if it was us, then there's some other logic. And then this is if it's us, it does all these things. And so you can see the red dust has some actions, and so does the church. So we'll have to let's do them one at a time and get to. So remove all storm markers. Done and done. And then the approaching storm. Done and done. Redeploy forces as follows. Do not adjust control until all redeployment is complete. The Earth government controller moves all EarthGov troops on Mars to Phobos or spaces with Mars government bases. So what it's saying is that if the corporation is a controller and it's a non-player, they will go to Phobos. So this is interesting. I didn't realize they were all going to just disappear on us. So all of these troops go back to Phobos. Wow. Okay. Next. Martian must move MG troops from deserts without coin bases, and may move other MG troops to labyrinths with coin control or spaces with bases. Okay, I don't think I have any troops in the desert. I have none in the desert that's not at a base. So we're good there. And I may move other troops to labyrinths as long as it's in coin control or has a base. So all that's saying is I can move around my troops if I have coin control. I'm looking. You could argue that I can move these because I have too many. You could also argue I should leave these here because then I can move and attack this. I'm leaving everything the way it is. I don't need to move anything. So now the red dust must move rebels from deserts without either opposition or RD bases. And they move their other rebels to spaces with RD bases. So that's the multiplayer version of it. Let's look at what this says. Move rebels as outlined below and keep other rebels in current spaces. Keep 3 rebels in each space with room for an available base. Keep 1 rebel in each populated space without active opposition if possible. Within each numbered instruction, move rebels using place rebels to destination spaces. Move rebels in desert without opposition or an RD base first. Then 1 at a time from spaces with the most rebels. They just made this so much more complicated than it needed to be. Okay. So it sounds like every populated space needs to have at least 1, as long as it's not active opposition. So what that's saying is this one and that one's not going to move. We know that. Within each numbered instruction, move rebels using place rebels. The bubble sheet is what it's getting at. So, okay. I'm going to read these off camera. It's a little easier. RD base with no hidden rebel, but it did say that we have to treat everything as if it's hidden. Treat all rebels as hidden. It says get 1 RD rebel to each space with an RD base. So we have a space there with an RD base. I see what it's telling us to do. Okay. Keep 1 if it's got a population. Keep 1 if it has a population. Only if it's without active opposition. This is active opposition. So we don't even need to keep 1 there. So what they're saying is take these and put them in a pool, and then we're going to do the place rebels action to start placing these back out on the board. That's what it's telling us to do. It does say keep 3 rebels in each space with room for an RD base. Now what do I do since this was only 2? Should I keep it there? Because it's almost 3? I don't think it's the case. So we're going to make a little pool here. And then we go to this spot. There's not room for a base, so we leave 1 behind because there's population. That's literally what it's telling us to do. So now we go to this one up here. We're going to leave 3 because there's room for a base. And then we go here, there's no room for a base. It's full active opposition, so they all come off. All of them. So we have a whole crap load of them. So now we start with the step 1, get 1 rebel to each space with a base. So, I mean, there's already 1 rebel on this one. Here, we're going to get 1 rebel to each space with a base, like so. This one comes back 2. No, that has population and it's not full active opposition. Because that's the other thing. If active opposition, then they don't go away. So anyway, that's confusing, I know. But that was step 1, and that's an easy one. Step 2, get 3 RD rebels to each space with room for an available base. And now this is the part that gets tricky because we got to use the bubbles here. For placing rebels, we want to go to an RD base with no hidden rebel. We already did that one. And then also not at active opposition. So there's a lot of spaces that are not at active opposition. So we're going to move to the next one. Most population. And so that does narrow it down. So what is we're trying to put 3 rebels somewhere where there's the most for population. So up there, 3 rebels. So then what it's saying is, for example, there's 3 population here. They're going to want 3 rebels there. And we're not doing these because these are full opposition. So now we're down to 2 population. There's several of them, right? So we got to keep going down the list. Most support. Almost all of them, except for this one, is most support. So we're now down to 2, actually. Most RD bases. Vulnerable enemy base, no. No RD control. There's still both of them. 1 to 2 rebels and room for a base. That one has 1 rebel, so we're going to put 2 here. Well, to be honest, we have so many of these that as soon as we choose that place, we can choose the other place too. So there you go, there's 3 there. But if we keep going, this is active opposition, so we're ignoring that. But this one does not have. So we're going to add 2 here, because we're going by population, right? They want to do 3 in each space with room for a base. So all these bases have room. And now we're stuck with, okay, now we got to go to where it's a desert. This one is a priority. We got to get that up to 3 as well, because not only are they protecting their base, but it's also room for another base. All right, so we got 3 in those places. So we have 3 more left. The priority was anywhere they don't have control. So they would put 3 somewhere that they don't have control, and there's a lot of choices. I would imagine they would pick somewhere that's not damaged. Oh, actually, it's an easy choice right here. There's 2 population in that location because of the corp putting population there. So there you have it. That's where they redistribute their troops. That is like really cheaty McCheaterson, because the real human player doesn't get to do all that. The AI basically just said, I'm going to go everywhere where I'm going to cause havoc on you. That's what they just did. And they got free movement and everything from that. That was extremely cheaty. So the actual action was they got to move their rebels from deserts that don't have opposition or bases. They may move their other rebels to spaces with bases. That's it, folks. The human player would have to really work hard to get those rebels to where they need to go. They basically put 3 rebels in every labyrinth so they can start spawning bases everywhere. That was definitely cheaty. All right, so now we're on to the church. They also have a big, long list. So first of all, what does the player do? They may move any CR bases to the wilderness, and they must flip any conversion center that moved to its non-upgraded site. They actually don't have a conversion center. Then they may move CR rebels to any spaces with CR bases as desired. Okay, that's the player. So let's see what they said here. Move CR rebels and bases as outlined below and keep other pieces in their current spaces. Keep 3 CR rebels in each space with room for an available base. Keep 1 in all other spaces and change no control. Now, so within each numbered instruction, move rebels using place rebels and one at a time. So, number 1, no enemy forces in wilderness. Move 1 CR base to the wilderness from all other spaces with 2 CR bases. None of that exists, so we're not doing that. Get 1 CR rebel to each space with a CR base. Get 3 CR rebels to each space with room for an available CR base. Yeah, I don't know what the get 3 rebels thing is because they told us not to move anything unless we have to. But basically they want 1 rebel in each space that has a base. So the wilderness has 1. The Cordoba up there has 1, that labyrinth. That spot over there is the only one that doesn't. So we would have to remove a rebel from somewhere to move it to there. And I think the decision's pretty easy. There is no base here, and there's also no population. So this rebel is not important. So they're going to at least get 1 to here because that's what the instructions claim. And then it says put 3 anywhere to make a base, but it also at the same time says don't move them. Keep 3 at each base with room for a base. There was nowhere with 3. Let's start with that. They've actually been really weak with their forces. Look at this. All of them are on the board. Keep 1 in all other spaces. All other spaces. You have to keep at least 1. So we did move 1. Get 1 to each space with a base. Get 3 to each space with room. I guess it's saying like you have to keep 1, but you can still move the others. So for example, I have 2 up there and I have 2 there. So I can move 1 from here or 1 from there to make 3 in the other spot. That's what it's telling me to do. Okay. This one has more population, so I can already tell you that's going to be the priority. Well, no, let's look because church doesn't care about popularity or population. So let's check what they're trying to do here. Vulnerable enemy base, no CR control. No CR control is the priority. That would cause nobody to lose control because with the rebels there, they would lose CR control if they move that one. So they're going to move this one to here then because they don't want to change control. That was specifically in the bot instructions. Okay, that was a little more complicated than I thought. Next, we're going to have the reset phase. But before we do that, we now have to go through and evaluate control. So here, there's 4 of them. So Red Dust took over that one. Moving around, this one's in really bad shape. Red Dusk took control of this one. That one's fine. This one almost flipped. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 to 4. This one flipped. This one's Red Dust controlled now. This one is no longer Red Dust controlled. I think we're good. Okay. If this was the third dust storm round, play immediately ends and victory is determined. Adjust population markers on Earth to match the EarthGov confidence value. So the confidence value is still 1. And then hide all rebels and spec ops. So I think we more or less did that. I do have to flip over the spec op. And then the Earth confidence is 1, so just one population is going to go here. Remove all active campaign cards. Done. You know what that means? The other one wouldn't have gone away. It would have been in addition to. Shuffle the discarded asset cards into the asset deck. All right, so there's 3 discards right now. So we will shuffle those in. My dog is panting. She is so exhausted from chasing her tail. You're a good girl. All right. Mark all factions eligible. Reveal the top card of the draw deck. Move it to the discard pile. To become the new current event card. Then reveal a new to the top deck. Ignore flashpoint icons. Reset the flashpoint track to 0. Make some dust storm rolls. Continue playing with the new event. Okay, that's it. So it's saying that everybody's eligible, like we suspected. Flashpoint's going to reset to 0. We're coming to here, and I don't put them on the discard pile, but this is our card we're going to start the game with, and this is this one. We don't move the flashpoint markers, but this determines how many storms come out. So there's going to be 4 storms, 4 approaching storms. So I need some dice. And here we go. So 2, 3 for the first storm. Right there. 1, 5. Ooh, that's an interesting thing. 2 storms right up in there. 6, 4. This one again. And then 1, 3. Okay, so this triggers. That means this is now a raging storm right at the start. So nobody can even go there. It's damaged, it has no population. It's basically New Mexico. So we can that's it. We're ready to start the next round. All right, I'm going to stop it here. Thanks for watching. As always, stay awesome.